From the Standing Stone Farm Studio right outside downtown Nashville, it's time for the most ridiculous sports podcast in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen as Bobby Butler and Brandon Bond crack open a cold one and talk all things hockey, pop culture, and complain about everyday situations. It's the Pucks Out Podcast on the Penalty Box Radio Network.
Welcome into the most ridiculous podcast in sports and pop culture. I'm Bobby. He's Brandon.
Hey-o.
You can find us on the three majors of social media at Pucks Out Pod. Now let's crack open a cold Mayday beer and let's get after it. As always, Pucks Out is powered by Mayday Brewery, the official beer Pucks Out podcast. And if you're listening to this on release day, join us tonight.
Come on out
for bingo, where you can win some Preds tickets in the all-inclusive zone for a game with free drinks and all you can eat food and just have an overall good time. If you're not listening to this on release day, well, hopefully you were there and hopefully you had a good time. Don't forget to check us out on Patreon to support the show and check us out on Twitch. Today we're talking the East divisions in the NFL. We've got a little bit of news. We're talking
no hockey news though. No hockey news though.
Yeah,
we don't got none of that.
Very little hockey news. Yeah. But how are you this week, bud?
Man, I am doing good. I'm a lot of weight off my shoulders, as you can see. You know, the Stoods is looking dope-tastic here. So that's been nice to not have to stress over that. But college football, baby, I know we're going to talk a little bit about it, but that's always a real good feeling that when that rolls back around, because that means that we are T-minus 5 days from Red Zone, brother. I mean, you know what I'm saying? See, I love Thursday night football. I know we're going to be hosting some bingo, but technology is what it is, so we'll definitely be watching that game up at the booth. I mean, we're probably hang tight, everybody. Josh Allen's on my fantasy team. Okay. So I'm coaching at the moment. Yeah. But nothing to me is as heartwarming as hearing my boy Scott Hansen, not Chris Hansen to be confused, to confuse all y'all out there. I don't like it when Chris Hansen comes and talks to me, but when Scott Hansen tells me,
how often has he done that?
My lawyer advised me that I shouldn't answer that question. But yeah, 7 hours of uninterrupted college football is football is king to me, and fantasy football is almost back. I got my final draft tonight. I don't know if you have any more after that one.
That was my final one.
Yeah, we got this one tonight. So, but I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing real good. Tired, day of work, but hey, ready to drink some beer, ready to talk some sports. But how about that fit check, man? What do you got today?
Just keeping it plain. Just, I wanted the room to stand out. So I just went with just a plain shirt. I'm trying to fit check the starting lineups and Wayne Gretzky up there. But I did rock the Star Hill Farms, the Maker's Mark farm that I got when I, as an ambassador, I got. What you got? I see you rocking some. I don't even know the name of that team anymore. Okay, they keep it. This was
fresh. A football team. At this point, they were the football team. But I got that Fitzmagic jersey on, bro. That
okay.
Fitzmagic.
Okay, yeah. Well, he wasn't. The thing is, I think that he was Pick Patrick at Washington. Was he not? He was. He never provided any Fitzmagic.
He had a couple games of Fitzmagic.
Yeah, but Fitzmagic is a run. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, he had a run of like 3 or 4 games where he was Fitzmagic, which is the essence of.
No, we're talking
for
Miami
him. It's a run.
No, I mean, yes, it is, but he was mostly Pick Patrick though. Am I correct? He did not win. He did not win you a slew of games and take you to the promised land like he did.
Well, he got us to where he got us more than we expected.
It's a nice shirt. That is so fair. You're a Washington fan, so you hold normal expectations about life. So fair enough, Bobby. No, seriously, I love that. I love that jersey, man. So and again, we're on camera now, brother, and I know for a fact you got about 9,000 hats, just like I do, and you're wearing the same hat that you rocked last time. That's poor fit check. That's poor fit check material right there, brother. We have a whole segment now. All right, I'll accept it. There you go.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There you go. There you go. Hopefully we have people that close their eyes for the first 5 minutes of the whole show, and then you'll be good to go.
All right, let's jump into the news.
Everything you need to know about what's happening on the ice. It's time for news from inside the boards.
Breaking news. Not shit. Nothing. There's almost no news. Unless Evan Rodriguez is still a UFA. Not news though.
It's not new. It's not new news. That's just continuing to be news.
Yeah, from last month.
that's just still news. So we told y'all that a while ago. I think we did our due diligence with Evan Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So 31 days still hockey though. That's news. It's not breaking news. It's not breaking news. It's news that we always knew was going to happen today
it's
on
news,
the 6th.
It's soon to be breaking news.
Right. And it's funny because even when this podcast comes out, it won't even be true anymore. It'll be like 29 days. So like everything I've said to you is a lie, people. Okay. So I'm so sorry. There's 29 days till hockey.
But that's literally it for the news. So we're going to jump to outside the boards.
Now that you know what's happening inside the boards, time for the rest of the headlines with news from outside the boards.
First week of college football is in the books. What a good week. The game, honestly, the game that I and I think most of the country was excited for, was actually a good game. Notre Dame versus Ohio State. Notre Dame covered, I think.
They covered by 4 points.
Yeah.
What a lot of folks were not realizing was that game's original spread when it came out was like 11.5. I mean, there was movement on that line because of all of dumb Ohio State. Yeah. The Ohio State fans bet on it. And then they were disappointed that Ohio State actually covered, I think, the normal spread, right? I think it was, what did they win by?
They won by 11.
Okay,
21-10.
Yeah, so they would not even Notre Dame would have covered at the original opening spread. That was a good football game.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you, Bobby. Didn't get to watch a lot of it because there were exciting football games happening over in the state of Florida, believe it or not. I was watching the Utah-Florida game, which is what I watched most of. But I'll tell you, probably the most underrated and probably not a lot of folks are talking about it. The Appalachian State North Carolina game was so absolutely enthralling. They scored 63 points in the fourth quarter, Bobby. 63 points in the fourth quarter, dude. In the 4 minutes, we were hanging stuff at the house. I was here with my dad, and we were hanging up some stuff. And like the Georgia-Oregon game was coming on, and we're like, let's watch the end of the North Carolina App State game. It was phenomenal. You know what the over-under was for the whole entire game? 57.5. They smashed it in the fourth, brother. That was a really good football game, and I believe North Carolina pulled that one out. But it's lots of great football, lots of really good football.
Yeah. Notre Dame played really well.
They did.
Do you think this game says more about Ohio State getting that win or Notre Dame keeping it close?
Notre Dame keeping it close. I mean, they definitely have a lot to work on. I don't think that they're number 5 team in the country. I mean, I feel like that's apparent.
Yeah.
They got to find a way to produce a little more
in the AP.
I'm thinking more in the 11 to 12 range, but 8 is a correct fall. They didn't get smashed out there or anything.
Yeah.
Ohio State's a good football team, and as is Notre Dame. So we didn't know the kind of Notre Dame team that we were going to get when we talked about this game last week. I think that we got that what we both described as a good possibility. What you could get, a hard nosed, low scoring football game. I think that we both kind of landed on and agreed that if the game was this low scoring and it would be a close game, and that Notre Dame would definitely cover that 17 points, which they did. I mean, that's a tough nut to crack. So I definitely think it says more about Notre Dame than it does about Ohio State not being able to cover a 17-point spread against what people voted on as the number 5 team in the country. So
I guess what got me, and listen, I not to support Ohio State here, but I don't think that with that win they deserve to lose a spot after Georgia beat up on a completely overrated Oregon team. Like, I don't think that that Ohio State deserved to lose that number 2 spot.
Yeah, but you could argue that Georgia never deserved to lose it either early on.
True.
So that would be ultimately my argument. I want to agree with you though.
Yeah.
I mean,
personally, I think that Georgia should be number 1 in the rankings. Starting off in the preseason, I would have gone Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama.
Georgia lost a lot on D. They lost a lot on D. Now they look good now. But I agree. I mean, as much as I have a distaste for Ohio State, and love to see them lose spots, especially after a win. It's always a W for me personally. But in terms of a sports fan, I also don't agree with that. I mean, they're the number 2 team in the country. You've ranked them as such. They went out and beat the number 5 team in the country and, did it by double digits. They didn't cover the 17-point spread, the 3-score spread against the number 5 team in the country. But I don't understand. I can't understand dropping them, especially after, we didn't get some blowout 79-0. From Georgia either. Oregon is a bad football team.
We got 49-3.
But we didn't. But
honestly,
but I mean, we all kind of expected that, right? I mean, that was. I mean, at least I did.
I think everyone outside the state of Oregon expected it.
Yeah, and so they. I can see why they moved them up, but I don't think that they should have ever been moved down in the first place. But I'm with you. I think that, hey, a win's a win, and getting a quality win like that. Why am I shifting positions down? So Oregon is Bo Nix is not good. Okay, Bo Nix is not good. I said this on public television in Penn State last year. Okay, like one of the first games of the season. He's not good. I don't know why. He transfers out to go get. He's like, oh, let me go play at Oregon. Oh my God, we're playing Georgia for the first game. He can't, I'm with you. I don't think 49-3 is what it really could have been with a bad Bo Nix.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you think, looking at Georgia's schedule, do they lose a game this season? They have what to me looks like a cakewalk of a schedule. Their hardest weeks are maybe. They've got Samford, South Carolina, Kent State, Missouri, Auburn, Vandy. Then, they've got 2 maybe difficult weeks, Florida and Tennessee, where maybe they only win by 18 points. Then they got Mississippi State, Kentucky, Georgia Tech.
As a deep-seated SEC fan, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, nobody Georgias themselves like Georgia, okay? So Georgia will figure out a way to lose one of those football games. And it won't be the one you expect. It's probably going to be like the Vols or something,
Or Vandy.
Could they go? Let's not, Bobby. This is a serious podcast. Okay. We tell jokes every once and again, but let's try to keep it on the semi-serious side. All right. Or I'm done. I'm out. Because I gotta be able to have real conversations with you without you throwing out these ridiculous scenarios of Vanderbilt winning a game. No, but seriously, I mean, they could absolutely crush through. I mean, that is they have a very, very weak schedule. There's no reason why they shouldn't be undefeated. Florida is a good
And honestly,
football team.
Alabama has a significantly harder schedule.
You
So
always do when you're in the West. And so right now, Georgia is in a really good spot where their 3 rolling teams that they're playing from the West are Mississippi, and I guess it's just one team now because they're all so just the Mississippi State game, which is a winnable football game. But at Mississippi State in November, I think that could be a scary game. That's about the time where you get that weird SEC upset from a random team at home. But to answer your question, I would definitely put money if it was Georgia go undefeated or have a loss. I mean, I would probably be, if it was even money, I'd probably be putting my money at an undefeated right now. Would be where I'd land. So I'm guessing you're kind of feeling the same way.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. If I had to put my money on, I think both Georgia and Alabama lose one game.
Yeah, I mean that's good.
I think Alabama drops the Iron Bowl. I think Georgia drops Florida. Kentucky. Your
optimism makes me feel so good, Bobby. I don't know that I see it. But thank you. Hey man, I think that Notre Dame won't lose all their games this year. Okay,
I don't know who they're playing. Their schedule, to be completely honest.
Well, they usually have a pretty standardized schedule, right? They're going to play Michigan.
I mean, they got
play
Marshall,
USC.
Cal. They don't play Michigan this year.
No Michigan.
I think their biggest competitor. I mean, I think their biggest competition for the rest of the season is Clemson. They've got Marshall, Cal.
Clemson didn't look great
BYU,
last night.
Stanford. I mean, USC is always a good game. And
Clemson did not look. Clemson did not look like the number 4 team in the country against Georgia Tech in my mind. Now, granted, Georgia Tech is a weird team. You know, that's a weird team to play, and it's kind of tough sometimes. So I'll be interested to see how they do past this. But yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if we're going to get another Clemson team that we had last year.
Yeah, I think a sneaky team in the SEC, maybe not sneaky because they are the number 16, but Texas A&M. I think they could. I think they could do something. I think they could do something this season. I mean, Jimbo, they got a hard schedule.
Yeah, Jimbo Fisher. I mean, you're going to have a hard schedule in the West, just the way it goes. Jimbo Fisher's a good football coach, though. So I'm not. I would not be surprised to see them do a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's way early to tell, so we'll kind of have to wait and see how some things shake up. But we're poised for what looks to be a really good season. And so I guess that'll bring me into we don't have it on the list, but it's news nonetheless. 12-team playoff has been approved.
Ooh,
and it'll definitely be in place by 2024, but the committee is trying to get the commissioners on board for 2023, starting it then. So he's only got that, the committee's only got to get like 3 signatures now. If they just need conference commissioners, if they just need conference commissioners, it's just like 3 dudes in a room. Like, hey, sign this real quick. I am very, very excited. That'll be 2 teams with the bye out. 12 teams is enough teams where nobody can say anything. Nobody can say anything about not getting in. Every conference champion gets in. Teams without conference championships get to go as well. I'm really
Notre Dame's going to be a shoo-in for almost all of these.
There go Notre Dame. Notre Dame's going. Notre Dame's definitely going. But you get to it. Finally gives you that advantage that you're talking about, Bobby. Is stop scheduling cupcake games because you're gonna have to set yourself above, and you're not necessarily out of the fold if you're number 12 in the nation. That's a good feeling. That's a good reason to keep playing difficult football games to be able to be a part of that 12-team playoff. I mean, we've seen the Giants come and the Bengals. Those 6 seeds are not necessarily out of the hunt for a championship in my mind. And I think it'll actually bode well for some of these smaller schools that all you need to do is go on a run. and you can win a national championship. Will we still have a lot of Alabamas and Georgias and Ohio States winning? Absolutely. That's just the way college football is going to be. But I predict a future where it may not be this specific team, but Cincinnati, goes on a little run and is able to get the right matchups, and two teams beat each other up, and they come into an injured, hobbled team. I think that it's possible that a team like that makes a decent little run into the fold.
I mean, imagine if we were to see like an Alabama versus Georgia in the second round. They're going to beat each other up. You want to be the team to lick up the remains after that game.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, Cincinnati's just the most recent media darling that's in a smaller conference. But there's always something. There's always someone. There was the Boise State teams of a while ago, 2008, 2009, that were so good at playing spoiler, playing upset. I think that this doesn't, you lose a game 2-3 weeks before the end of the season, it doesn't end your season. It doesn't end your national championship hopes, which is valuable.
Yeah, that's always been my biggest bug is like it comes down to one bad game almost can take you out of the running. And to me, that's not in the spirit of competitiveness, I feel like, to be honest with you, for this kind of thing. Like, it's always bugged me that, you had one bad week, you're not even going to get a shot at
yeah, and I mean that says something about timing, the timing of your losses and showing up to play when you need to play. But I mean, if you can avoid it, which I feel like with the playoff we found a way that we can. I feel like, hey, is there going to be teams that maybe deserve to have that 12 spot or that 11 spot? Absolutely. You're going to have arguments every time you quantify. Yeah. I mean, we have an argument like this when we have 96 teams picked for basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always that team that, but if you wanted to be picked, then be number 11. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't have to worry about it. I think it's a good number to where you kind of tune out those critics of, not being able to play for the championship just because they're a smaller school or something.
I haven't done my research yet, but this might be the first time in decades that for 2 weeks in a row, Vanderbilt has been the top team in the SEC. They are 2-0.
Woo! Well, they did start. I mean, they're probably going to start 3-0. That's after the 3-0 start, that is when things go downhill. Yeah. I do want to highlight that they beat Elon. That is the team that they played this week, right? I believe Elon. Yeah. It sounds like 31. It sounds like a fashion school. Okay, I mean, there was Prince got out there and scored 31 on them. All right, that's all I'm saying. Yeah. So
yeah. Who do they? I don't even know who they play next week. Probably St. Mary's School for the Blind. They play Wake Forest, number 23 Wake Forest. So it's that could be a competitive game.
They, Wake Forest they could win. This is a show up and play game. SEC, it's going to be tough for them to win some games, but we'll see. Wake Forest has been tough on and off the past few years, so I'll be interested I'll be interested to see that. I mean, Elon, you did let him hang 31 on you, so I guess I should be cautious.
LSU had a pretty bad week down in the Bayou. They are 0-1 after a 24-23 last-second loss to Florida State. One of their linebackers had a textbook targeting play where he put his head back and head-butted the quarterback right in the forehead.
We used to call that spearing. He's just forgetting it all. Like, he ain't even trying. He just torpedoing him.
Yeah, I mean, that Brian Kelly, Feinbaum came out and said LSU paid $10 million for that.
We have talked about this for a while, Bobby. Brian Kelly truly would be a dynamite candidate to have in the coaching house. The one, how do you keep getting jobs? Like, how do you keep getting jobs? I'm just blown away.
He's got pictures of somebody's family. He's blackmailed his way.
He has pictures of somebody looking at child pornography. That is a fact. That is 100%.
Yeah.
That's not disputed by anyone. Okay. It is crazy. And it's hard to be bad at football at LSU, right? I mean, even if you if you can get the 15 best players in a 15-mile radius of your school, then you're a top team in the nation, so it's hard to be bad at football there. I don't feel bad. I'm not a big Brian Kelly fan, as you know. I
don't think there are many Brian Kelly fans out there.
Well, somebody at LSU really, really likes the way he greases a pole. So, I mean, something, dude. Somebody knows Brian Kelly.
All right. So, moving on to some NFL. Mike Tomlin has confirmed that Trubisky is quarterback one going into week one. I think the Steelers are going to be really bad. I mean, I think this is going to be one of those things where it's like, yeah, technically he's first on the depth chart, but he's probably got a short leash.
Have you seen on Reddit on high quality gifs? Have you been on that subreddit before? Okay, so essentially they'll take like movie scenes and they like have like a high quality gif where it's like a full conversation of like just like what happens in the movie scene. It's very meta, So if you've seen Hot Rod, the movie with Andy Samberg when he walks up with the girl and he goes, all right, so everybody's going to introduce themselves and they're going to say something about themselves. And so in the movie, he says, my name is, so-and-so and I like to party. And then like the next one's like, hi, my name is so-and-so and I like to party. And so like, he's like, no, you can't do that. You can't say you like to party. I like to party. You say something about yourself. So they all go around and they're all doing that. So the situation was the Steelers quarterback room. And so the person that was walking up with him, it says George Pickens. And it's like Mitch Trubisky is like, all right, so I'm Mitch and I'm the quarterback one. and then it goes to Kenny Pickett. He goes, I'm Kenny and I'm the quarterback one. And Mitch is like, no, Kenny, you're not the quarterback one. Only I'm the quarterback one. And then Danny McBride is also in there. He goes, yeah, nobody's the quarterback one except for Mitch. And he's like, thank you. And me. And it's just like all of them. Like, so yeah. So that is about how I feel about this Steelers quarterback room. How quickly do you think Kenny Pickett is going to take that job though?
Halftime
of game one. Okay. I'm going to hit you with something I'm going to hit you with something a little weird. I think it's game 10. I think Mitch goes on a little run. He is not Trubisky.
I was making a joke about halftime, but if I had to really guess, I would say week 6.
Yeah. And see, that's probably about right. But I'm thinking week 10. I think he goes on a little run. The problem with Mitch Trubisky is he's not the worst quarterback ever. Always. Okay. So it's only like a portion of his time. He has some tools in the tool belt to be able to actually be a decent quarterback. Mike Tomlin's a good football coach. They have a crop of receivers there. I'm not super worried about him losing that job immediately. I think it's better. I think it's better for Kenny Pickett.
They got Bengals. I think they lose their first 3 games. I think they beat the Jets. I think after their first 6 games, they are 1-5. And I think at that point, after that game against the Bucks at home, I think they're going to get stomped. I think that's when they decide to make the change.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's a lot of disrespect for Mike Tomlin run team. I mean, I'm just saying the guy finds a way to win. I could absolutely see that happening. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not going out and putting any bets on Mitch Trubisky or anything. I'm just saying that he's not the worst. And Matt Nagy kind of was. So, I'm just going to throw that out there. I think that's a good combo for if he can game manage some games, I think they can get a couple surprising wins there.
But yeah, so that about wraps up our news. Main topic, we are wrapping up our division preview for the NFL, East and the Western.
Can't believe how well we timed this, by the way. Chef's kiss, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, a chef's kiss.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was thinking, I was like, oh, are we going to have to double up today? No. Champion.
Yeah. So the starting off with the Dallas Cowboys, I did a little write up. Feel free, Brandon, to chime in.
It's garbage, everybody. He shouldn't read it.
Feel free to jump in on the comments and add or disagree or anything you want. I think Dak loses most of his weapons and Cooper and Gallup due to injury and heavy changes to the offensive line. They have a bright spot in Jalen Tolbert and CeeDee Lamb. I don't think they win the division this year. I think they lose the division. I think they are worse than they were last year. And I think overall they do what any NFC East team does when there's promise and they flush down the toilet.
Really couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, really well written piece. I think they have a bright spot in their defense. I think that if their defense plays, or I should say, not their entire defense, but some skill positions, Micah Parsons being one, but some good draft picks that they've brought in as well. I think Pollard is going to need to be heavily involved in the passing game this year. I think that Dalton Schultz is going to be a pretty big key, something that you didn't mention. But I agree. Gallup being hurt is tough. Losing Cooper is not as big of a deal to me. I think the biggest thing is CeeDee Lamb has to put up or shut up. He's got to be the guy.
Yeah.
But I agree. I don't think they're winning the division. I like the Eagles for that specifically. But don't hate this write-up at all. I think it's pretty much hits the nail on the head. I think I'm interested to see kind of what Zeke can do. A lot of potential as a fantasy landing spot.
Yeah.
I am interested.
I got him in one league pretty late, like a lot later than
Tolbert.
I thought I would. I think I got him. Yeah.
You talking about Tolbert? Zeke, yeah. I mean, you're going to be able to get some. I think where you're drafting, some people are scared of the name. If you draft him in the third round and you get decent production, third, fourth round, decent production from him, you've won. I got
him in the sixth round in one of my leagues.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
He's still RB1.
No, that's an absolute steal. Even if he is, I mean, I expect there to be a load management this year. Tony Pollard's a good running back, but a sixth round running back that's going to get you 10, 15 points a game is valuable. I mean, and especially a guy that is a known commodity. So I don't hate that at all. I mean, I like a lot of the value that they bring to the table.
Yeah. The Giants, Daniel Jones improvement this year with new rookie tackle Evan Neal, and the receiving corps should come into their own with Kadarius Toney being healthy now. Kayvon Thibodeau is high risk, high reward. Historically, new pass rushers in the NFL can either be great or they can be big busts. That is one of those positions where it's a massive jump from college to the pros with the speed and the strength that they'll be facing. Because the biggest jump is in talent is offensive lineman from college to pros. So if they got him at the fourth. They got him with the fourth or fifth or something like that.
Fourth pick, yeah, I think fourth pick.
Yeah, I mean that's high draft real estate.
100% agree with with those statements of the high risk, high reward on those pass rushers. Absolutely is the case. The difference in coming up is, the offensive line is a big different animal. I think that Kayvon Thibodeau has those physical traits that can get around it. That is one of the positions.
I think so too, yeah.
That is one of the positions in the NFL that I think, your physical traits can mean so much more than anything else, because it is one of there is a lot more to playing defensive line in the NFL than college. But when it comes to, hey, put your head down and just get to the quarterback, I think that he has those physical traits that can do that. As a person that has Daniel Jones in a dynasty league and some shares of different Giants, I really hope that he improves this year. I don't know, man. Kadarius Toney's great. He's very solid. Waddell Robinson is a guy that I'd look at as well. That can be one of those guys. No Evan Ingram. If you have a healthy Saquon Barkley, that could be a difference maker. I still think that we're looking at the last team in the division. So that's my opinion.
Honestly,
I don't
I agree. I think this is, and one of the reasons, going back to Kevin Thibodeau, that I'm saying, he has the physical prowess to do it. He has the ability to do it. He's fresh coming off an MCL injury.
Yeah.
If that takes just a little bit of speed off of him, coming off the line a little bit slow, and you've got these, these amazing, tackles. I mean, that's just that split second of speed loss can doom you as a pass rusher. And,
you're really talking down one of your dynasty
see.
assets. You're really talking down one of your dynasty. You're not
going to hear this, and hopefully he's going to perform.
You're not going to increase the trade value of him if you just keep talking him down. No, I really agree.
I'm giving him chalkboard material so that he can get in the game.
Yeah.
But all right, the Philadelphia Eagles. AJ Brown is a dangerous man and can change the outlook of a season. Jalen Hurts still has a lot to learn in this league. They've been making good offseason personnel decisions, and this is my pick to win that division.
Yeah, mine too. Miles Sanders, unfortunately, as a guy that again has some shares of him in Dynasty, is trending downward. That's unfortunate, but it is not bad for the Eagles because Kenneth Gainwell is trending upward. They got a guy that they really like as a replacement there in Boston Scott. Good running backs for a team, not great for my fantasy team, but great running backs for a football team. A receiving core with, as you just said, AJ Brown, a guy that can really change the way that your team is able to play football. Devonta Smith, another year. Dallas Goedert. I mean, these are guys that we were talking about last year. He was thrown to people like Greg Ward as like a regular target. I agree. Jalen Hurts has got, some stuff to learn about the NFL. But that's a guy that he's able to win football games. And so he's definitely a much better fantasy asset than he is like a real NFL asset, in my opinion. But I mean, I think that he can lead this team to the division as well. As I said, just like you, I think this is the division winner. I think he's got to slow up his running a little bit. He runs quite a bit. I think he needs to find some passing lanes a little more frequently, but hard to argue with the guy that has AJ Brown and Miles Sanders and Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith at his beck and call. So interested to see where there will go.
Moving on to the Washington Commanders. Last season, the Commanders' defense was so statistically impossibly bad that it has to be better this season. They were so bad, that people were like, "This is just it is an improbable anomaly." Just how bad it was. This season, they face a much easier schedule. However, with Chase Young on the PUP list until at least week 5, who knows, honestly, with this team. And while Wentz is not the long-term answer, but again, who is with Washington, he is a substantial upgrade from Heineke. And if Jahan Dotson can be season ready, Wentz will have some great weapons with an easier schedule, better quarterback, and hopefully a better defense.
Don't say the last line. Don't say the last line. Don't say the last line. You can say everything up until card,
do the NFC.
Why wouldn't you say shooting themselves in the foot? I don't know. Maybe because Brian Robinson was just shot in a carjacking.
Oh, okay.
This is unknown to you. This is unknown to your boy.
Was he shot in the foot?
No, he was shot. He was shot.
I mean,
it just seems like you're piling on here.
Okay. Let me be very clear. As a Washington fan, we grew up with that saying being told to us every single Monday. Every Monday, sometimes Tuesdays, it's on the radio. Every dad, my dad, every dad at football practice is like, shot themselves in the foot again. Yeah.
I know that we're talking about football here, but I just want to throw something out there to you, and I'm just going to say a few things that are true, and you just answer them how you will. We get a report that Brian Robinson is doing really great in camp, and he is looking good, looking like a solid, a solid draft pick for the Commanders. Then we get word that Antonio Gibson is working full-time with the punt return unit. And then we get word out of training camp that Brian Robinson has been named the lead running back and has got the starting job. He is then in a carjacking, and then he is then shot. My question for you, Bobby, is does anybody have an alibi for Antonio Gibson? Because I'm just saying, I know that he wasn't specifically involved, okay? Because the shooter did not fumble the gun as he was. So I know that he wasn't there specifically, but maybe he gave a little money to some friends or something. I'm just purely speculating as an outside. I'm not a fan. I don't know the inner workings of the team. But just how do you feel about all this that I'm bringing forward to you?
This sounds like something that HBO wishes they had done Hard Knocks with Washington this season. That
Hard Knocks, Antonio Gibson edition.
You see a cameraman hiding in the locker room, and you see Antonio Gibson just meeting with shadowy figure.
What is it? What are you, Gilbert Arenas?
As he goes to give him the money, he drops it. He's like, "Oh shit, my bad." Here you go.
So all right. So, but in all seriousness, I really like your write up. I love Jahan Dotson. I love his talent. I loved watching him play at Penn State. I think that obviously Carson Wentz is not a great quarterback, but he is most certainly an upgrade from what they had last year. Brian Robinson is a good football player. Antonio Gibson's not a bad football player. Terry McLaurin is a great football player. You kind of see what I'm getting at here is you have the talent. The talent is there. What can you do with it? Ron Rivera is a good football coach. I'm not worried about what he can do. I'm going to hit you with this. The Washington Commanders are second in the division this year, to me.
Yes,
I think they take the second spot.
Yeah, what I will tell you though, for the past 25 years, it's never been a question of talent. Washington has always had some amazing talent on that team. It's about utilizing the talent. Maybe Riverboat Ron can utilize this talent. I think he can. Washington fans have been saying that about a lot of different coaches.
Rivera's won a Super Bowl
throughout this season.
Rivera's a Super Bowl winner, or is he not? I know he's been to. I know he's been to a Super Bowl. But regardless,
I think he's been. Yeah,
I know he's been. I just thought he had won at one point, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. As player, he was a Super Bowl champion as a player.
Okay. I think that matters. I mean, I don't know, how some people think. I know he's a coach now, but I think that, being there matters in terms of what you can get your guys to do. I'm interested
he's
to see
never
what
won
the
a Super
Commanders
Bowl
can
as
do.
a coach. I think they're second, and I think honestly, with the right bounces, maybe they get an upset win. They could win the division by a game.
They can absolutely. This division is going to be close.
I think the first three spots are going to be close, and then you're going to have New York probably.
I think this is one of the few divisions in which I think that it really could be any three of these teams in any different order. And I wouldn't even. I don't think New York can win the division, but I think New York could possibly slide into a third spot, depending on if one of these three teams actually turns out to be a dud. You were about to move into the AFC East. I want to say I absolutely love your write-up on the New York Jets. It is
Yeah,
not.
a lot of thought,
It's
but it was
not.
put into it.
It's nothing. Well, it was a lot of thought, but putting nothing was actually being nicer to the Jets than you
Yeah.
should have been. But in all seriousness, I told you, don't worry about going and looking anything up. I can get you pretty good. A lot of young talent there. Brees Hall, Michael Carter at the running back spots. Brees Hall is poised to be a great, running back, a future running back in this league. Who knows if that'll actually be the case? But that's what they're talking about. Elijah Moore is a guy that really stepped up last year at the receiver spot. Denzel Mims is looking better through preseason. Zach Wilson is not, unfortunately. He's not. I feel like this is this is their weak spot right there. Is Zach Wilson? I mean, truly. I am not. I think I talked to you last year. I said I'm kind of high on Zach Wilson. I hate his landing spot in New York, but I don't know. After watching him last year, I don't know that I even saw any real promise in his future there.
He was a disappointment.
It's a team that I'm very interested to watch. I just don't think it's going to be very good. Again, unfortunately for the Jets fans. I think this is going to be another bad football team. I mean, you have anything else? I mean, like I said, we didn't have a full write-up or anything.
I think that they're, speaking for the Jets fans, I think there was something to be said about when you were one of the three teams that were bad in that division. They were joined by the Bills and the Dolphins, looking up at Big Brother Patriots. But now, Dolphins, the Bills, the Patriots, all pretty good. Jets haven't really gotten much better in the past decade.
This is definitely
this
is definitely a division where we could get 3 playoff teams from. Absolutely. So I feel like, to your point, you didn't explicitly state this, but let's go ahead and save ourselves some times and move on to one of those teams that could potentially win this division.
Buffalo Bills. James Cook will be the lead running back very soon, I believe. Very talented, much like his brother. And they have the most electrifying quarterback in all the NFL with Josh Allen. They are playoff bound, and I believe they're a contender. I mean, this is a good football team.
What more? I need a beer. I'm sorry. Got to get up in the fridge, bro. I don't even put them on the table anymore. Yeah, I mean, what more can be said about a team that very easily could have been playing for the Super Bowl last year if a few things went their way? Josh Allen is a dynamic quarterback. Stefon Diggs, a great piece there. You think James Cook is going to be the lead running back? I think that is also possible. I mean, it's hard to be. It would be hard for him not to be. This is a team that hasn't had a lead running back in a while. This defense is still looking stout. I am very, very excited for the Thursday night game of the Rams and the Bills. You have a prediction for that? I know that we're not going to get a chance to talk about it before Thursday, but you got a prediction for that game?
I think Bills win it 48-41.
Wow. Okay. So you're blasting on the over. I actually think that the Rams are going to win. I have a hard time discounting Sean McVay and the reigning Super Bowl champs at home. Even with Josh Allen, I don't hate your prediction though. I think that it's definitely possible. This is a contending football team that can definitely win a championship. I would like to see them win a championship too, because I have no hard feelings against Buffalo. I love Josh Allen as a player and as a person. He's helped me win dynasty championships. So, hey, I'd love the man to get a Super Bowl on his own. I mean, it's not as important as him doing well in fantasy for me, but I mean, good for him. Moving on to the Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins. Tua has weapons, and with Kyle Shanahan and Tyreek Hill, they could be a wild card team, if not more.
Jalen Waddle. It's Waddle season, baby.
I think that I think that this is the year that the big brother is showing some more weakness, and this could be the year that Miami could be a number 2 team in that division. If not, if things fall right, maybe they get some upsets and they, and they beat the Bills. Who knows what happens? But I like Tua this year. I like the Dolphins and what they can do this year with Tyreek.
I absolutely think that this is a team that could go out and win the division. I think they would be better suited with their coach that they left out in the wind. But Tyreek Hill, fantastic. As you saw, my Jalen Waddle. It's Jalen Waddle season in my mind. But I think the biggest aspect to that offense that kind of changes up the game is Chase Edmonds. I think Chase Edmonds can be a dominant force for Miami. I'm very intrigued. This is absolutely. I think. Look, if I were a betting man, which I am not, I do not bet money on anything. That'd be wrong of me. If I was a betting man, I'd bet on the Bills to win. All things equal, I'm betting on the Bills to win the division. But I would probably put some wild card money on the Dolphins to win this division. I think they absolutely can. I think they have the talent. I think they've had some bad falls. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I like the Dolphins this year.
Yeah. All right, rounding out with probably the greatest team in the over the past 20 years, the New England Patriots. This defense, which has carried this team in the past, will not be good on paper. As they previously have. They've been kind of downfalling a little bit. In the past, Belichick has had a ability to get these kind of no-name guys to come in and perform very well on defense. That we've been seeing that trick, stop a little bit. I think that as kids get, as the generations change and social media, he's having a harder time getting those no-name kids to come there. I think that this could possibly be the end of a powerhouse. However, when you've got the greatest head coach of all time, who just so happens to be a defensive mastermind, nothing is for sure. I don't think anybody would be surprised if the Patriots come out here and win this division, and they win both games against Buffalo. Maybe they split Miami, and they just say everyone's like, "Well, it's New England. It's Bill Belichick." What do you expect?
They could absolutely win this division. It would be ugly. It would be the worst looking football. We would look up and we would say, how are they leading this division? It is 100% possible. We have seen a recipe like this before. A quarterback that does not lose you football games in Mac Jones, which is that's all that Bill Belichick needs. He doesn't need a guy that can win you football games. He needs a guy that won't lose them.
He just doesn't want Deshaun Watson.
which Mac Jones is. I am really looking forward to seeing kind of what Devontae Parker can do there, because that's a guy that can resurge into, what we've seen before, and it completely changes the ball game for them. I think Jacoby Myers will not regress. He'll push towards more of the mean in touchdown scoring as a guy. He catches so many passes and doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. James White being gone is all right. Well, that's a little odd for a Patriots team. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson is more than serviceable in that role. Damian Harris is a good running back. This is exactly as you said. It is one of the few advantages a team can get with coaches is right there in New England. I think this is the third team in the division. I think they absolutely could be anywhere.
On paper, they 100% are.
This is the team that could be anywhere from 1 to 4 to me. They absolutely could fall below the Jets if some things fall right or, whatever happens. But I cannot. I'm not going to make it.
If that happens, if they fall fourth, do you think Belichick retires, or do you think he wants to go out on a high note and goes another year?
Oh no, I think that he murders his new offensive coordinator and he gets a new one, and he comes back with a vengeance, and then he wins a Super Bowl.
Somehow wins a Super Bowl, yeah.
He wins a Super Bowl with Mac Jones's younger brother or something. He brings him in as a motivational tool, and he's like, "Look, I've just hired your high school brother." Yeah, and then it's really like a replacements type situation where Keanu Reeves
he
keeps
brings the
playing.
he brings the skeleton of Danny Amendola back to win a Super Bowl.
That's all I'm saying. That's all. That's it. Vinny Testaverde shows up. Vinny Testaverde shows up to win him a Super Bowl. Drew Bledsoe. Okay. I got a Drew Bledsoe Patriots starting lineup back here, bro. So I'm with it. I'm for it. I'm for Drew Bledsoe coming back for a shit.
Nice. All right, guys, that wraps up our division review. We're going to jump now into Joke of the Week.
The weird. Corey Perry. See, I don't like this. Wild. I think the first read was a good one. Now I'm overthinking it. Outlandish.
Each sixth chick sat on a stick. Little tongue twister.
And downright dumb.
Kidding me?
It's time for the Joke of the Week.
Florida's itself. You've probably all seen on the headlines how they've been doing these sting operations and arresting these felons who illegally voted. And they boasted about it, had news conferences about it. Come to find out, all the cases are falling apart in court because it was Florida who gave these people in question the voter ID.
Yeah,
and actually told these people in multiple times and even in writing that they were allowed to vote. These people who were arrested reached out via mail and email. So there's written all these emails they say because it's through the state. And we're told by multiple voting officials that they were allowed to vote. And all 20 of these cases are pretty much being thrown out.
We don't like to get political.
Absolutely insane.
We don't like to get political on this show. But I want to remind everybody that thinks that a felon shouldn't vote and shouldn't have a voice in the country. And, maybe there are some people that should not, but as soon as you start saying that, you don't get a voice if you've committed specific crimes, that's when political dissidents can use that against people and can get people convicted of crimes so they can no longer vote. I've never really understood that. So I mean that's just more of a personal thing. But I mean the joke of this is if things aren't allowed to happen, generally computer systems and state computer systems just don't let it happen. They just say, no, this guy can't because of X. And I'm still very confused because when I have moved, and as everybody on that has listened to this podcast with any frequency knows, I like to do quite a bit. I like to get up and moving everywhere. I fill out my stuff online and ask you a series of questions, of which, I assume are to exclude me from voting if necessary. Were you born in the United States? What state were you born in? The things that I'm guessing. So it doesn't seem like these felons were just out to go vote in the school board elections or anything. It seemed like they really wanted to know, and there was nothing preventing them from getting that ID and actually voting. What a joke that Florida. I mean, Florida is such a cheat code for us, man. It's such a cheat code. When we invented this, we had no idea that we were going to need Florida so much. So realistically, Florida is probably is needed more than any other state in this country. No offense to anybody that listens from anywhere, but without Florida, we would not be able to do Joke of the Week, week in and week out. So thank you for your service, Florida. Thank you for your service. What a joke.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more we could go into, but we're not going to. Yeah. Once again,
Florida, and the first thing I saw was a picture of Ron DeSantis. And so if anything has a picture of Ron DeSantis on the front, there's no way this ain't getting political, no matter which side of the fence you're landing on. So let's call it. You're a joke, Florida.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Pop culture segment. I want to start off by saying you should go listen to the first episode of the Home Pod Office, where we were joined by Zach McCann. That episode is out now.
Please,
where we talk House of the Dragon. But we are talking a little bit spoiler-free of the Rings of Power. And just a quick discussion on it. I
threw this on here to
thoroughly
see
enjoyed
kind of
it. It was a lot of fun.
That's it. That's what I was going to say. I just really threw this on here to kind of see how you kind of took it. You know, I know we talk about this stuff externally, but I love to talk to you about it on the podcast. A lot of people are not liking it. And you, Zach, and I, on the pre-recording the first episode of the Home Pod Office, again, which you should all go listen to if you're hearing my voice right now. I am not really, I don't understand any of the hate. I'm not as deep into the Tolkien world as I am other lore and other worlds. But I feel like I'm connected, I have my finger on the pulse enough to not really understand the hate for it. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it.
I mean, people are calling Galadriel a Mary Sue, which is bullshit. People
I'm
are
saying
mad
I don't understand.
They are having
the
to
hate
change.
I know the criticism.
Yeah.
Okay, I was making sure you knew. I knew the criticisms, but I'm just not understanding their reasoning for the hate. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Because people are stupid. People suck and are stupid. That's really the only reason. The things that they had to change from the books makes sense. Like, let's be honest here. Tolkien wrote a lot. There's a lot of things, and what they're taking from is history that he kind of wrote down that spanned sometimes hundreds of years. And in order to make a
hundreds
TV
of years
show
and
that's entertaining to watch.
Well, 98% of what he wrote that spanned hundreds of years was just like a description of every single leaf on a tree, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got a lot of he's got a lot of material, but it's hard to make what a tree looks into a TV show, brother. You know, no offense.
Yeah. And a lot of the hate is also that technically they're saying, well, this isn't canon because Tolkien didn't have anything to do with it. It's like, okay, guess what? Most of us don't give a fuck. It's entertaining. I'm having fun.
I really, when somebody says that,
they
to
know
me,
that Tolkien literally can't be here.
I know that's what I was trying to get at. I'm like, hey, you do know at this point, this is it. Okay, if you like Lord of the Rings, like, we pretty much have to do things without his input at this point. I mean,
and one of there's a guy, I can't remember his name now, but he writes a lot of music and does a lot of covers of Lord of the Rings songs, but kind of like in rock stuff. He's been on Twitter pretty much, and he's like a blue check mark. He's got a lot of followers. That we should, that people who like Tolkien Lord of the Rings should want nothing instead of something, because why would we want the legacy ruined? And everyone's like, yeah, and I'm like sitting here like, no,
but it seems like you should.
I want something. I want to watch. I want content. Because guess what? If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it.
That's what I was gonna say. Because one, everybody can be happy because the people that want something can watch it, and the people that don't want something. It turns out we live in the golden age of Come listen to Pucks Out podcast instead of watching any type of Rings of Power. You just come over and you listen to us talk about the Rings of Power. So I mean, that's very easily remedied. But the opposite is not true. The folks that want more of the Tolkien universe, because he is such an iconic figure in not only fantasy history and science fiction history, but literary history. You can't tell me that he hasn't impacted the world. And so if you don't want any of his works adapted, that's fine. I can understand that. And I can understand you having truth to your art, but then don't watch it. Okay. Because I do want the Rings of Power. Yeah. I do want to see it. I do want to know about Elrond and Durin and, all that stuff. No spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And what people have to understand is that when you take a book, same with Wheel of Time, when you take a book, people don't realize that books and TV are two different mediums. You cannot, it is extremely
one costs a lot more money.
It is extremely difficult. It is extremely difficult to take what is written in a book, put it exactly as is in a TV show, and also while at the same time being entertaining. Mm-hmm. You can't. I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, how often in the Song of Ice and Fire where there are chapters of them just talking?
To be fair,
like they have to cut some stuff out.
To be fair, House of the Dragon really is trying to destroy that stereotype of they can't do that, because they're doing a hell of a job. The difference is the Amazon only got the rights to like sort of like the story, not any of the book materials. So that was a big honestly, it's a lot better than I expected for something that didn't actually have any book sources to like really back it up in terms of like actual. Hey, you can call Fire and Blood a history book all you want, but a history book gives you a brief outline of what can be done. So,
and one of the great examples of this that I always tell people, and people always seem to agree, is like, imagine if we went in Game of Thrones, if in like season 4 or 5, all of a sudden we get a zombie Catelyn Stark. People would that wouldn't work in the show. It just wouldn't work. It kind of worked in the books because other things, it was magic was a little bit more prevalent.
First of all,
but because they.
I 100% disagree that you couldn't open up the world to Lady Stoneheart. So don't ever speak this madness to me again, Bobby.
I think it would be difficult to make work, but I think a lot of people would be thrown. I think a lot of non-book readers would be like, whoa.
Well, Bobby,
what is going on here?
I don't say this often, but fuck them. I mean, that's it. That's all I gotta say. No, I 100% agree with you. That's something that I can get on board with. It is a hard sell. And so like while I feel that storytelling, it makes a lot of sense to tell it, it's not a crazy thing to exclude, if that's what you've excluded, for sure. So I 100% agree. But the ultimate, down to it, Rings of Power is going to be good. I think it's necessary. I think it's 100% necessary. It's been a long time since Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, even, for that matter. It's necessary to have those names people know. It's necessary to have Galadriel. It's necessary to have Elrond. It's necessary to have one version of Durin. I think that it's crucial to the success of the show. It is not as recent as Game of Thrones. It is not as big of a world as Game of Thrones, and it's not as much story source material. So I think it's necessary to have those folks that you know. And why would you have people that don't die if you can't use them in all of in all of your stuff that you're doing? Like, why is Galadriel's
elves have one good thing, is that they live like
they're immortal. They're immortal. And so like Galadriel's dope. So like I want to see all of Galadriel. That sounded wrong. I want to see all of her. Nope. Yep. I think I said it right the first time. I want to see all of Galadriel. Okay. The Cate Blanchett version or the Rings of Power version. Okay.
But all right, let's move into what's snapping your stick.
Bobby and Brandon are about to find out exactly what snaps their sticks.
We've got one together this week. It was your idea, and I'm following along with it. So hit him with it.
Yeah, dude. So we went and got a birthday present for Stephanie's nephew. We're going through the toy store. Dude, the kids, they had the dopest toys in the world. As you can hear. I was just going to show you one that I was like, look, I'm going to get it for the nephew. He ended up having one of these, so I get to keep it. Let me show you this dopeness, dude. Look at this bad boy, bro. Oh. And then, boom. For those of you that can't see, this is a dope T-Rex mask that the kids get to have. And then we're like in the toy aisle and they have all this Star Wars stuff and all this Marvel stuff. I'm just like so insanely jealous of these kids, dude. Like, I honestly almost didn't go to the birthday party because I was like, dude, I'm just gonna keep it. And then luckily he had
That's
one.
Fucking amazing.
So like I get to keep it forever. I already said, hey, when I get up into the Twitch game, there's going to be some channel points right here. I'm going to be rocking this bad boy. It'll have to be, we can't allow it playing some first person shooters because I feel like this is just a major disadvantage for everybody that's playing me because then I'm a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You obviously win.
Man. But so I'm super excited. My nephew is like a big fan of like Hot Wheels now and like the dopeness of like the Hot Wheel tracks that you can get. And then, you had mentioned it and Stephanie and I are getting, Nerf guns. The Nerf guns are just, I was like, which Nerf gun are you going to get? And she was like, this one. And it's got like a 50 clip magazine. I'm like, no, like they were trying to have like face offs and draw,
Well, I already know the one I want to get. I saw it at somewhere a while ago, but it comes with like, you remember in, what was it? Was it Rogue One? Remember like the guy who wasn't a Jedi, but used the Force, you know what I'm talking about, had the stick? Well, his dude with like the backpack. Yeah. Well, his buddy who had the big machine gun with the backpack, it was like that, had a backpack that held like 500 Nerfs, and you could just pop.
Honestly, send me the link because Stephanie's going down on this bad boy for sure. So,
and I just want to get two of them, have one on my chest, one on my back, and just dual wield those things.
Yeah, dude, I'm with it.
But all right, everyone, thanks for joining in. Don't forget to check out the HomePod office out now. And for Brandon Bonnet, I'm Bobby. This has been Pucks Out Podcast, and we'll see you all next week.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Pucks Out Podcast. To see what other ridiculousness the guys are up to, check them out on Twitter and Instagram @PucksOutPod.